up, fam? I wanted to bang this one out real quick as I was cleaning my studio the other night and I watched a video by Matty Balls where he mentioned a video that Helloyassine had made a while back called The Dark Side of Spotify Playlists, Fake Artists. Anthony Fantano also covered it a few years back in a video as well. If you're confused about what I'm referring to, I highly recommend you watch both videos before continuing into this one because I'm about to explain the inner workings to what they were talking about. In both videos, Helloyassine and Fantano go over that there are peculiar looking artist profiles with insanely high streaming metrics embedded into various Spotify editorial playlists like these. Helloyassine found that most were part of a company called Firefly, and Fantano covers that they were being provided by Epidemic Sound. I'm personally a fan of both of these creators and I enjoyed their view and their take on the findings, but they lacked a key part of the puzzle, and that's insider knowledge. Both creators claim that it's a bad thing for these, quote, fake artists, unquote, to exist and take up a large portion of editorial playlists. I'm actually going to tell you that it's a good thing and something that's occurring naturally and not some hidden agenda being pushed by Spotify. So the big question is why? Why the fake artists? And why are so many of them on these editorial playlists? Utility music. You've probably never heard this term before, but it's a general term for any music that serves a utilitarian purpose. Examples would be various types of instrumental and non-instrumental music to play in the background while you sleep, meditate, relax, study, work, or whatever really. The lo-fi genre is a great example that falls under this category. In the past few years, Spotify has noticed a growing demand for utility music in their users. We could debate all day on why consumer demand for utility music has increased, but the fact of the matter is that it has. With an increased demand for a type of music that was, frankly speaking, in low supply, some companies decided to take advantage of the opportunity to fill the gap. And that's where you get media companies like Firefly, and I promise you, there are many others like them. Essentially, these companies would send briefs to publishing houses with teams of producers and songwriters with the guidelines of music that they're looking for and pay them a flat rate for exclusive ownership. They would then package together bundles of similar music and brand them as an artist, which is what everyone sees as the fake artist. The media company would then take their catalogs of utility music to Spotify and would get practically direct access to editorial playlisting for their utility music playlists because they are fulfilling the demand that Spotify has from its user base. Of course, these media companies, since they own the exclusive rights to the music, would be the ones collecting the royalties, not Spotify. Some media companies would forego paying the producers and songwriters an upfront fee for exclusive rights and instead did a traditional revenue split deal, usually in the media company's favor. These media companies are operating exactly like a label, but the difference is they aren't pushing an artist brand and are instead fulfilling a need, a true supply and demand within the music industry. So, is this a bad thing? In my opinion, no. I think it's a great thing. All too often, I hear people complain that it's hard to make money in the music industry. Almost all of those people are also artists. And I mean artists in the traditional sense when they're the vocalist and may or may not have been the producer. From their perspective, they're correct. It's hard to make money in the industry as an artist. But as a producer, that's a different story. And I'm not just referring to beat-making producers. I'm referring to producers who can create multi-genres. Utility music for a multi-genre producer is, frankly speaking, pretty easy. So when a media company comes around and asks for a handful of producers to make hundreds of songs geared for utility music and offers a couple to few $100s per track, that's a major win. At scale, we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars on the table, up front. Once the song is done, nothing more is required. The producer can wipe his hands from it and collect his check. Of course, the obvious downside is that you miss out on the royalties, assuming you aren't in the revenue split deal. But opting in for royalties is a gamble in that field and, in my opinion, a bad move. For example, let's say you make 20 songs for utility. They all get selected for purchase, and let's lowball it and say they offer you $250 per song. Congratulations, you just made $5,000. If you made all those within a couple weeks, then that's a pretty fair trade-off. If you instead opted in for a royalty split on all 20 songs, and for this example, let's say it's a 60-40 split in the label's favor, then you're gambling on all the songs performing well when in reality, they all might not. Some might get millions of hits, others might not even make it onto the editorial playlist. And once your song is rotated off the playlist, there's no guarantee you'll ever have it placed again. And again, we're talking about utility music, so there's a very low chance someone saved the song to their library to jam out to it later. They're likely just passively listening to whatever's on the playlist at the time. Continuing in this example, assuming that 2 made it into the editorial playlist, and each one racked up a couple million streams each, and we're also going to assume a 0.004 cents per stream royalty rate, the earnings would be about $16,000. After your 40% split, your final earnings are $6,400. A little better than the upfront payout, but these earnings would be spread out over the time period of months or even years. And remember, we were lowballing that upfront fee. Depending on the buyer, you might be able to easily double or triple that. Fantano spoke on this market being a detriment to the artists who make music for nothing more than artistic merit, which I can agree with that to a certain extent, but I believe that making art for money shouldn't be viewed as such a negative. A starving artist is a weird romantic ideal we put on artistic brilliance. Why should an artist have to starve in order to be brilliant? Why can't an artist's creations line up with capitalist market forces? Does an artist not deserve to make a reasonable living for doing what they love to do? Financial stability and artistic merit do not have to be mutually exclusive. I believe in empowering artists. It's a cold, hard reality that today music can be made by anyone, so everyone wants to be an artist. The market is oversaturated for artists who want to be artists for artists' sake. And as of this recording, over 100,000 songs are being uploaded to streaming platforms every day. Supply has now outweighed the demand. But there's a flip side to it, as the demand for content has risen as well. Visual content's always going to need music, so there's an increased demand for music to go with visual content. This is an opportunity, my friends, one that every one of you should be taking advantage of, but I'll dive into that on another video. So I ask you, is it really such a bad thing? More producers are getting paying work to fulfill a market need. How could that possibly be a bad thing? Not every producer or songwriter wants to be an artist. Not everyone who makes music has to have a personal brand and desire for the spotlight. There's more paid opportunities for music creators than ever before, and I think that's a great thing. Thanks for watching, guys. If y'all like this style of content or the knowledge shared, drop a like and comment, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel, and I greatly appreciate your support. And I'd like to once again thank the producers from the allcapnofax gang for letting us use their music in the video. Shout out to Raptor, Soft Clippa, Space King, and Statue for being awesome and making these dope beats. If you liked what you heard, make sure to check their stuff out in the description links. See you next time. Swifty out.